Hey gamer, in this guide I will show you how to PvE in Awakening Warrior. I will cover 4 main parts: my skill tree, which add-on do I use, how to move between packs and which skill rotation you should use. To make it easy, I made the terminology of the video so you can easily navigate to whatever section you want. So, let's start off with the skill tree. I made a skill build which gets you everything you need in order to PvE for about 1.6k skill points. It also includes a few spells you need for dual force spot, so you can dodge them and maybe reduce the skill point requirement to about 1.4k. Let's start off with the beginning. You want to have absolute ground horror, it's mandatory. It's the main ability we use to pull mobs, and it also gives a minus 10 melee DP debuff on mobs. Then absolute spinning slash and ground smash aren't really needed. I use them mostly for PvP, so you can maybe dodge them if you don't have enough skill points. Piercing spear is an ability we use to pull mobs in spots such as Turo and Olun Valley. Frenzied dash is used to move between packs, and Scatter of Dusk is just something nice to have in high-end spot. Once you start to move there, you kinda want to have the plus 10 DP buffs it gives, at least when you start grinding there, the time to get used to it. Then we can start looking in mobility spells. Chopping Kick and Upper Chill Strike are for PvP, you don't use them in PvE. But the one you want to get is Chill Charge and Charging Thrust. Those two are going to be the main ability you use to move with your pre-awakening kit. Then of course get all your passive. We can move over awakening now. You kinda want to get everything except Flow Nikick, you really don't use it in PvE. You also want to have Frenzied Strike locked and on Hotbar. I personally have it on 4, but whatever fits human. You want to be running Core Frenzied Strike. It gives a forward guard on this, which is pretty comfortable in PvE. For skill enhancement, you don't really use Rabam in PvE. You can get Frenzied Spear for spot like Sulfur Mine or Police Forest, like spot where you one-shot mobs. It's good to have when all your moving ability are on cooldowns, but in a high-end spot you don't really use it. And Chill Tight is just for PvP, you don't use it in PvE ever. Same goes for the third Rabam. I mean, you don't even use it, at least on Awakening. You don't even use it in PvP, but if you really want to get it, you need to get Counter Slash to get an additional forward guard. Now let's go over my add-ons real quick. You will understand why I use this when you will see the skill rotation I use, but I will briefly go over it right now. So this is what I run. Take in note that if you grind a human spot, you want to replace the plus DP on Solar Flare with plus human AP. So my skill rotation goes something like this, like basically Grave Diggings add-ons are first one that comes. Then I debuff enemy with Armor Break, use Solar Flare as a filler. Then I use Events Cleave, and with Frenzied Strike most packs are dead. Then on the next one I just do Armor Break, Solar Flare, Reckless Blow, full charged, Pulverize and Grave Digging, and then I can repeat over and over. And that's basically why I made those add-ons. I still try to find better one every now and then, but I didn't found any. If I do end up finding better one, I will pin them in the comment section. So if you want to know if I updated my add-ons, just go check in the comment section. Now we are going to go over movement. I will show you what you need in order to accomplish what I'm going to show you. So So you want to have ultimate forward slash. You don't really need that one, you can skip it if you don't have enough skill points, just leave forward slash at level 1. Then you want frenzy dash, shield charge and charging thrust. Those are going to be the main ability we're going to use to move in pre-awakening. Then our awakening tree, you are going to use edge chase, solar flare, balance strike and event cleave. I don't really like using event cleave for movement because it got pretty good AoE and damage, so you should keep it for DPS combo, but if you one-shot pass, you should be using it as a movement, it's pretty good. You can also use Frenzied Spear in spot where you pretty much one-shot mobs, but don't use it in spot where you don't. So we're gonna start with our Awakening tree. The main spell you're going to be using are Solar Flare and Balance Strike. The way you use Solar Flare is you trigger Edge Chase and then follow up with Solar Flare. So to Edge Chase you're going to be want to use W and Shift, I mean any directional key and Shift, and then you use Solar Flare, so forward and LMB. The way it goes is something like that. As you can see, it covers a pretty good distance, and it's going to be the main ability you use to move. You can also use Edge Chase in Balance Strike, so you do any directional key and Shift, and then you follow up with forward and RMB. It covers a pretty good distance as well. Yeah, now let's talk about Event Cleave. The way you trigger it is RMB after quite a few spells, it's said in the description. So Solar Flare, Overwhelm, Armor Break and Heal Strike. So you just hold RMB after Solar Flare, for example. So you do Edge Chase, Solar Flare and Event Cleave. It goes something like that. It covers a really good distance, and each spot where you one-shot mob, it's really good. Now for our pre-awakening kit, you're going to be using Charging Thrust a lot when you need to cover a long distance. It's a really good spell. So the way you trigger it is W and F. You can cancel the animation at any moment by pressing S during the spell. So it goes something like that. Before rework, we needed to pay attention to not hitting a target with it, but with the rework they removed the collision hit, so now you can just use it. It doesn't matter if you hit something, you don't have any animation. You also use Chill Charge. You don't really use it a lot. You can use it between different ground hour, so you ground hour, move a bit and then ground hour more. You can also use forward slash between two ground hour. So the way you do it is you press forward LMB and hold Q at the same time. So it goes something like this. You're not going to be using forward slash a lot in PvE because it consumes a lot of stamina and don't make you move really fast or really far away. It's pretty bad. You shouldn't be using it. You can also use Frenzy Dash. It's our last pre-awakening movement ability. The way you trigger it is by holding Shift and Q. It covers a pretty good distance and it's really fast. But the only downside is it has a 17-second cooldown, but it's fine. You don't really use it a lot as well. You can move with Solar Flare and Balance Strike a lot. Last but not least, let's go over my DPS rotation. I will show you what I'm using on the screen right now. So I'm using I just pull mobs and refresh Q block buffs when they are packing. It gives a 26 AP self buff, so it's really nice to have. While mobs are packing, you want to be using Grave Digging. It has a pretty good AoE, and you don't want to kill all mobs at the same time when you grind, otherwise your pets will not have the time to pick up all loot, so that's why you use Grave Digging while mobs are packing. Then you use Armor Break to debuff mobs. Solar Flare and Event Cleave for damage, and Event Cleave is going to give you a 46% crit rate increase in total, so that will get you to 100% crit rate on all the spells that don't have 100% crit rate. The way you do it is you have a 20% crit rate add-ons, and when you use RMB after using Event Cleave, it's going to give you a 26% crit rate buff. The way you trigger it is just by using Slashing of the Dead, for example. It's going to give you that 26% crit rate add-on. So the way you do it is just like that. You just keep RMB pressed, and as you can see, I have the 20% and the 26% buff as well. That will get you on a 100% crit rate for the following spell, which is going to be Frenzied Strike. It has really good damage and gives a self buff of 5% crit damage, which are going to be nice for what we're gonna use after that. After that, you're going to be using Reckless Blow. The way you want to use it is you full charge it and dash behind mobs before releasing it. So you hold LMB and RMB, and you also hold Shift and D, for example. So that will make you dash before releasing it. So you can back attack mob pretty efficiently with that. Then you use Ankle Break, Pulverize and Tempest, and finish mobs with Merciless if they are not dead. You don't really need the full combo to kill packs. The way I grind is I only need to pull mobs, refresh Q block, and do half the rotation. So I stop at Frenzied Strike, for example. So I do Grave Digging, Armor Break, my damage, Slashing, and then Frenzied Strike. That's enough to kill packs at Orcs, for example. That's what I do. Then, when I move on the next pack, I don't have Grave Digging CD, for example, so I need to do something else. What I'm doing is I do Armor Break, Solar Flare, then I full charge Reckless Blow. And I also dash behind mobs. Then I do Ankle Break and Pulverize and Grave Digging. The pack should be dead, and then you can move on next pack and just keep grinding. So that's going to be the main difficulty you have as a warrior. You need to know your CD, or display the main one as I did, to grind efficiently, because you're not going to have them on every pack. What's good with the combo I showed you is you can infinite loop it. So if you don't have the gear to clear Ash Forest pack in one combo, for example, or in Olun Valley, you will need more than one combo to kill packs. You can pretty much infinite loop it. So if you pull mobs and just do the rotation I showed you, every cooldown should be up when we get back to what we did. And then, as you can see, you just refresh Q block buff, and you can start all over again. All CD are back in time. And that is basically how I grind Olun for Valley, and how I am going to grind in Ash Forest if I don't clear packs in one combo. And that's pretty much it. I will show you a few samples of my grind, so you can have an idea on how I use what I showed you in the video. But if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask me on Discord. You can find me on Warrior Discord, or I will leave my Discord in the description. You can also just comment below the video, and I will try to answer you guys' question as good as I can. And enjoy, man.